Maz and Jen, I think.
Maz and Jen.
All right. Yeah.
This is cool. Well, hey, welcome those of you that happen to be tuning in, whether it's live or you happen to be watching the stream of our video after the fact. There's Maz. This is episode 146, and we call this Stormfront Freaks Raw because it is the recording of our show, so it is raw. There's nothing getting edited from this version. If you're a Patreon member on patreon.com/stormfrontfreaks, you get access to this stuff live and be able to stream the video for the first month before it's available to the general public. But we don't edit anything out of this, so wear the earmuffs if you need to, and we will edit the podcast, the audio podcast, and we will be uploading that. We're actually right now, because of the holidays, we're playing a week ahead. So this episode will actually air the weekend
June, July
of yes. Thank you. Yeah, so it's be not this weekend, but the following weekend we'll post this one, and then
The 12th or so.
Yep.
Is
I think that sounds right.
Maz, guys? Is Maz? Is he either like really doing a great job miming being
He's stoned.
still?
No, he's stoned. It does look that way, doesn't it?
He does look stoned.
There
he
he
is.
is.
Whoa,
There he is. Whoa.
What happened?
you were jerking around like Max
was like-
Headroom.
As
for a
opposed to
while.
you
Headroom.
jerking me
Whoa.
around.
That's usually
Max
what I
Headroom,
sound
man.
like when I have those problems.
That's right.
That's a blast from the past, there, Phil.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's a
Only the old farts will know what that
that's a
means.
reference a lot of people aren't going to
So
get.
what?
Yeah.
So what would be the reference today to something that's glitchy, audio or video that's glitchy? What would be a today reference?
Glitchy.
Exactly. That's my point. So Max Headroom, it's like everybody. Oh yeah, okay. You're,
Max Headroom. Right.
Yeah.
remember Coca-Cola commercials and.
Yep.
He actually, the Coca-Cola commercials were so popular, he actually had a television series for at least a season.
That's right.
You did? Yeah.
Max
Yeah.
Headroom, there was a TV series. It wasn't good, but it was a TV series.
I used to work for Coca-Cola. That's what I drove for before this company.
Oh, did you?
Okay, Max Headroom.
Yeah.
We'll
Are
call
you
Max.
in Atlanta?
No, Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Great Plains Coca-Cola.
Okay, so Angela, then did you ever have one of them street fights with the Pepsi driver? Like
right.
No, but there was some like shady under the table product swapping.
Right.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Because in Oklahoma City, at the time at least, they had like Bang Energy when it first came out, and so like we would trade Monsters for Bang Energies.
Oh.
Oh.
No Jack Daniels truck.
Now wait, remember we are live, so be careful.
All
The
right,
company's out of business now.
so Scott, question for you, Scott. Dennstaedt, is that the last name?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Dennstaedt,
Dennstaedt. Okay.
Instead.
Dennstaedt.
good German name.
Dennstaedt.
Yeah,
Scott D.
Yes. There you go.
that'd be Dr. D.
There you go. That's Dr. D.
Although that's close to Dr. Demento for all those old people.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's
Wow.
another good one.
Just a few.
Dr. Demento. Oh gosh, yeah, I remember Dr. Demento. That's where Weird Al Yankovic got his career jump started, I bet. All right, so let's do this. What we'll do is you want to go around, MJ, test everyone's mic. You comfortable with that?
Let's see. Greggles, tap your microphone. Yep, we got it. Perfect.
Wow.
Dina, tap your microphone. Yes. Jen.
Okay.
Maz. Yep. We're
We're
good.
good.
He rubs
caress
his.
it, Maz.
That's great.
Good
Okay.
snowball. Good snowball.
All right, so what we'll do is I'll do the typical. We will we'll go ahead this time just because we got a number of people on. Have Dan and Angela head to the green room when we start, and then we'll bring them back in. But so I'll do the pre-opening as normal, and then we'll do the normal. Then I'll start the normal opening. Go around, find out what everybody's drinking. Are you joining us tonight, Scott? You got a little drink in hand with you? Yeah, that boy.
Nice.
That a boy.
Yeah.
But so we'll find out the co-hosts, who's on, and what everyone's drinking. And just so everybody knows, it is Dina's birthday today. So we get to celebrate Dina's birthday. And then
30
Maz,
looks good on you, Dina. 30 looks good on
Thanks,
you.
baby.
and then Maz, are you ready to do Scott's intro?
Jawohl.
Very good. And then you can start with the questioning. Scott, quick question before, so I don't get into it and then find out that there's not a whole lot to talk about. But how verse are you to drones and flying drones and flying those in weather situations, et cetera, et cetera?
Barely. I don't. I usually fly. Aircraft that you put people in. So, but I am familiar a little bit with the regulatory side of the house.
Okay. All right. So there go all my questions that I had.
Okay.
We'll start with some different. No, I'm kidding.
And good night.
So Maz, you can start with the questioning. We'll go till probably about bottom of the hour or so and take a break before we come back for round 2. Anybody have questions? Scott, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Bye, Dan and Angela.
All right, Dan, Angela, we'll see you in a little bit. And then MJ, just do me a favor. Like if I'm coming across either really soft or really loud, can you do this or that? Because
you're plenty loud right now. So.
Okay. Because I'm still having some issues. I've got everything dialed down about 50% of what I normally do.
Yep.
So I don't know what the problem is, but
play the applause once just to make sure that. So that's loud. Try it again.
That's really loud.
Yeah, you're really loud.
You're really loud.
Hey, welcome.
That's better. They're enthusiastic tonight.
Okay.
That's good.
Scott has that look like every guest in the beginning, like what's going on here? And by
What
the
is
end of
this
it,
all
they're
about?
all like, "This is the best thing. I love you guys. This is great."
All right, here we go with the general opening or the pre-intro coming in 3, 2. Hey, Storm Freaks, it's Phil, and we're about to talk aviation and weather with Dr. Scott Dennstaedt. And of course, hashtag weatherfools and other drinking shenanigans, all on episode 146 of the Stormfront Freaks podcast. All right, good?
Yay.
Cool.
All right, here we go with the real thing. 3, 2. Hey, welcome to the most entertaining weather podcast. This is the award-winning Stormfront Freaks podcast. Special thanks to our Patreon members for supporting the show. And those that happen to be joining us tonight, I know we've got Dan and Angela in our green room this evening. But you can also join us at patreon.com/StormfrontFreaks and be live in the chat or even on the show with our guests. So check that out. But it is happy hour. Always is every time we record. Doesn't matter when. I see Steve just checked in as well in our chat. Steve, welcome. But it's happy hour. I hope Steve's joining us. But we're going to go around, kind of find out what everybody's drinking because it gives us the chance to find out which co-hosts are on the show tonight and maybe find a good new drink for you to add to your repertoire of your own. We'll see what happens. But MJ, our producer and Skywarn coordinator in Minnesota, what are you drinking tonight?
Good evening. I'm not going to give you anything really wild because this is a vodka sour again. But I do have it in my lake as my happy place glass because that's where I am even in the winter and fall. The lake is my happy place.
Vodka helps.
Great.
Love it.
Vodka helps a lot.
Are you guys ice fishing up there yet?
No.
Okay, just
It's
checking.
not even quite frozen over yet. There's still
Just checking.
water.
All right, then we've got our meteorologist and weather producer with the Weather Channel. It's our birthday girl for the evening, Dina Knightley. Dina, happy birthday! But what are you celebrating with?
I finally found my favorite drink that I had out at a restaurant once. It's called Decoy, and it's hard to see here, but it's a premium wine seltzer, black cherry. I went to like literally 4 different liquor stores and I finally found it. So I stocked up. I pretty much took what he had.
So it's
Wow.
like Vicks.
They're like they're kind of like a hard seltzer, but they're a wine one.
Okay.
And it's a different flavor. It's a different taste, but I love these. I'm going to buy them all.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday then, I guess,
Thank you.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
got my favorite drink.
Cool. I see Josh has joined us in the chat this evening as well. Maz, our former on-camera meteorologist in Cincinnati, what are you drinking?
And not because I drank too much. That's why I'm not former. But anyway, I haven't had dessert yet tonight. So I went for the Platform Bonbonnery Cream Opera Coffee Stout.
Wow.
It's like,
Damn, that's a lot of words.
it's good. If you need dessert, and I did, it's good.
You probably won't be able to say that later.
No.
It's a cream, like a cream dessert stout.
Yeah, it's like a
Coffee
Bonbonnery
cream. Wow.
opera cream cake coffee stout.
My God, how many calories are in that can?
You keep
Cream
adding words.
cake?
You keep
I know.
adding words to
It's
the
cake.
There's
Wait,
so many words.
There's a government warning. Wait, what does that mean?
240 calories a can.
All right, Jen, our contributor and former social media specialist at the Weather Channel. What are you drinking tonight, Jen? What non-alcoholic, nice, good for you water are you drinking
Oh, I
tonight?
saw what you had.
I know
It's,
you're doing this. I've got it's the sparkling water. It's cherry limeade. It's amazing, delicious, with vitamins and antioxidants because I have a little bit of a cold and so does my daughter. So yeah, trying to stay healthy.
Hey,
COVID
Jen,
alert.
can you still get water? Because I was just at the store and they're running out on the shelves in Kroger. I was like,
Uh-oh.
it's water.
That's
I was going
weird.
to say because somebody has to be healthy.
And this is true. This is
True.
very true.
Then I've literally never seen you have a like a drink with us. Not once.
I know.
In person.
I know.
Mhm.
I will if I'm healthy next time. I do
Oh,
have
God.
some
No,
tequila.
stop with the
Yeah.
promises. I'm done with the promises. Don't need to hear those. I've reserved myself to be okay now with you just drinking water. I'm okay with it now.
I will
So
surprise you
don't
guys
tease
tonight.
us.
I won't.
Okay.
I won't anymore.
All right, then we got Greg, our storm chaser and photographer with the Tornado Hunters. Greg, what are you drinking tonight, sir?
Well, considering I'm in my van and I am parked down by a river, I'm gonna call this the Matt Foley.
There
I'm
you
in
go.
a van
Nice.
down by the river. It's Ryan Coke.
Okay.
I love how you make
Nice.
a drink and then you just name it.
I just name it.
I do. I like that.
You don't have any open container issues there inside your van, do you? Like
No. As long as the keys aren't in the ignition, I'm
Okay.
I'm just sleeping in my van.
you're good.
And it's rye bread, right? Is that what it is?
No. This is rye whiskey. Rye whiskey.
Okay.
Oh.
And be careful.
All right, Maz. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get to our esteemed guest this evening.
Excellent. We're excited to have Dr. Scott Dennstaedt. Was originally employed by the National Weather Service as a research meteorologist, but way back in the late 90s, that's the 1990s, by the way, Scott earned his commercial pilot certificate and became a full-time flight instructor. In 2008, he founded Aviation Weather Workshops, Inc., known as AvWxWorkshops, Inc., to teach pilots how to minimize their exposure to adverse weather. Now, I got to tell you, Scott, Dina is a full-fledged pilot. I want to be one. What's like the biggest tip you have for all of us?
A large checkbook.
Yes.
A lot of money in your bank account because it's not cheap. Avgas is very expensive these days.
Yeah, and how many more hours is it after your private pilot?
To get the commercial,
Yeah.
yeah, you're probably talking about somewhere around 200 more hours. There's various different requirements, but yeah, it's a couple hundred hours to get there, and you have to also do it in a specific kind of airplane in terms of retractable gear airplane. So it's it's a lot of money that goes into that.
Oh,
And then you get to start as a first officer making no money.
Yeah, in many cases, you actually have to. Most of these regionals want you to have at least 1,500 hours before you can actually get into that right seat. But nowadays, it's most of these folks become flight instructors, and they build time as they do flight instruction because you can log pilot and command time, and at that point in time, they get to that 1,500 hour mark and they start applying.
Oh wow.
Can we start right at the beginning though, Scott? Like right at the beginning. How do airplanes fly? Like,
Jeez.
like is it magic? Like,
It's sorcery.
It is a little. It's a little bit mystifying. I mean, when I take off, I still am very mystified by the whole thing.
right.
It's amazing to feel that airplane lift off and you start to, move away from Mother Earth. That is just the most exhilarating feeling around. So yeah, it's a little mystery there.
You don't ever say that on the intercom. This is Captain Scott. I'm still mystified we got off the ground.
I try to avoid that with my passengers. Yeah.
But Scott, it's weird because like I started in aviation and really I got into weather because aviation was so expensive and I paid for it as I went. But you got to your commercial license and then but you were already there. So how did that happen?
Yeah, so my goal was really just to fly because I've always I loved aviation, loved weather, and when I got into the whole concept of learning about the whole weather component to flying, it really got me interested in how I can marry up my meteorology background with this newfound love for aviation, and at that point in time. I started to, I realized if you read all these books about aviation, you realize that, as you gain more experience, you become typically a safer pilot. So I wanted to have another goal in mind. And so I became a flight instructor. And at that point in time, I realized, I could actually teach this stuff to pilots and really focused on that element, aviation weather.
Scott, I've got a question because I think that's so fascinating. What is the hardest thing for like new pilots to learn? Like, what do they struggle with the most, or what is the biggest mistake that they make?
Well, I know some pilots, it's really a broad range of things. I've run into pilots that have the stick and rudder skills almost from the beginning, so they can literally, run circles around most pilots that have been pilots for many years. Other pilots have a tough time talking on the radio, air traffic control kind of stuff. But I think the most difficult for any pilot to learn is how to land the airplane. It's because you not only just if it wasn't for weather, landing an airplane would be easy for the most part. But because you have the possibility of gusty winds or crosswinds, makes it more challenging. So you have to be able to learn to land in these more adverse weather conditions. And that's kind of what makes the whole process of learning to fly initially very difficult, because you got to make sure that if I'm an instructor, make sure your student can actually safely land the airplane every single time.
So Scott, I'm obsessed with the crosswind landing videos on YouTube, and you see these planes crabbing in, almost looking like they're coming in sideways. Very, very fascinating. What's the hardest landing you've ever had? Like, what airport were you in? What was the situation? And you're already smiling, so I know you got a good one for us.
Yeah, I was when I was just got my commercial certificate and was planning a trip from Baltimore, where I grew up and did all my training, to Chicago area. I instrument rated so I can fly in the clouds. I planned this flight, and this was a day where there was a lot of lake effect going on, and I flew an airplane. It's a Turbo Hour 4, and it's not certified into icing conditions, so you have to be real careful about that. But I spent a lot of time trying to figure out if I could actually get on top. A turbocharged airplane can actually fly much higher, and as a result of that, I spent way too much time worrying about that. And so I wanted to make sure I could climb in clear air, get on top of the clouds, and then descend in clear air. And after about 20 minutes, 30 minutes of pondering that, I was able to figure out I could do that with no problems. But I did not check the wind at my destination airport. And so here I am flying into this airport, and the headwinds were brutal. So what normally would take 4 hours took 5 hours. So I was low on fuel, and I tuned into the frequency to listen to the weather at the airport, and it noted that I was going to have a direct crosswind of 35 knots.
Oh,
wow.
The airplane has only really been tested up to somewhere around 20 knots with a test pilot.
Whoa.
So my thought was, well, I got to find some other airport to land at, but I've got a really full bladder at this point. And so in that particular case, it was get down as quick as possible. And fortunately, the weather gods were shining on me that day, and I squeaked in a good landing.
So can we add test pilot to your resume as well?
That's what I felt like at the time. It's not. I'm not proud of that moment, but the point is I learned a lot from that particular situation to make sure I check all the boxes and not forget something.
When you gotta go, you gotta go. You're like, I'm coming in. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get it.
That's
It's
right.
gonna go
It's coming in.
Is there a
Coming
special,
in hot.
Get out of your
code for
way.
is there a special code for the tower when you're like, gotta go now?
Yes, it's basically you're in that situation, and pilots are notoriously very good at this. And that is, they know where the bathrooms are at the airports.
So Scott, I have to ask you, along with Greg's question, what is like the craziest weather you've encountered in the air, rather than like the landing?
Yeah, I get that question all the time, even from just all different kinds of pilots. They say, oh, here's the meteorologist, here's the pilot guy, he's the weather guru. You have to have gotten yourself into some really bad weather situation. And to be honest, I'm a weather weenie. I just don't like I hate turbulence with a passion. So I try to do the best I can at staying away from any significant weather. But I guess the most interesting element, I was flying from Lincoln Park, New Jersey down to Charlotte, North Carolina. It was actually kind of a passenger on the airplane, was not a flight instructor at the time, but was a well-informed passenger. And we were flying in an area where there was a really well-developing trough. It was going to turn into a nor'easter. Ooh. And flying out of the New York airspace is really tough. They don't want to let you fly directly west, because our goal was to fly south, but fly west first and down around the western side of DC. But the air traffic control clearance that I received basically put us on the eastern coast, where this trough was developing, an area of low pressure was starting to take shape. And I started getting into some really significant, severe chop at around 8,000 feet. And I thought I might have stumbled into an embedded thunderstorm. And at that point in time, we decided to, what you should do is you terminate the flight and figure it out on the ground. And so we did that. We actually we were over Richmond, Virginia at the time. So we told air traffic control we wanted to divert. And at that point in time, we landed and we got to 4,000 feet and it smoothed out like glass.
Wow.
And the temptation was, well, maybe we'll just continue on at 4,000 feet. But no, we went down and landed. And it was funny because when we landed, you couldn't even see the runway. There was so much water on the runway. You couldn't even see the numbers on the runway. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to land this airplane. We're going to hydroplane and crash. And then when we got to what they call the FBO, the fixed-based operator there, it was hilarious because here it is just pouring down rain, and the attendant comes out after we park, and he comes out with this little red carpet, and he throws it down splashes it in the water, no umbrella, and here we are going to get our, get soaked trying to go right into the FBO there. It was funny.
Oh, wow.
So you didn't actually end up saying, "This is Captain Scott, we're going to hydroplane and crash"? You didn't do that either?
No. This was in the small general aviation airplane.
Because Scott, what size plane was it? Because if you were a commercial pilot, how big was that plane, and how big was the biggest one you've ever flown?
Yeah, so I fly general aviation only, so don't do any kind of commercial aviation per se. In that sense, it's only training general aviation pilots more than anything else. So this particular airplane was a four-seater. Was called a Columbia 400, a twin turbo aircraft. But that's generally my sweet spot. The largest aircraft I've ever flown is a Pilatus PC-12, which is a single engine aircraft that seats about 8.
A single engine with 8 seats, huh?
Oh yeah, the Pilatus PC-12 is my favorite airplane. If I had to pick an airplane to purchase and fly on a regular basis, it would probably be the PC-12. But I don't have the $3.3 million to buy one.
So Scott, have you ever done storm chasing in on a tornado day? Thunderstorm builds up to the west, and you cruise by the south of the storm and look at the tornado and stuff like that?
Well, I haven't got quite near a tornado in this particular case, but one of the reasons I wanted to learn to fly is my love of weather. And and certainly my love of convection and thunderstorms was really what I wanted to get up in the air and take some pictures of it. So yes, I was doing a fair amount. Anytime I would go on a flight, obviously I have a camera by my side and taking as many pictures as I possibly could. I remember this one flight we took, it was out in actually Needles, California, right near Death Valley. And there was a cell that popped up kind of in the middle of nowhere there. And so I was with a student. I said, hey, you want to try something here? And of course, the student, oh, yeah, I guess so. And so we actually circled around this cell about maybe 5 or 6 times because it wasn't moving. It was just sitting in place. And I got a lot of great pictures around all sides of this particular cell. But, obviously, you worry about the possibility of hail falling out of the top of the thing. And that doesn't do very well to a metal airplane. So, I try to keep my distance, but I've gotten a lot of great pics of some storms from the distance.
Do you ever get like students saying, can we buzz my girlfriend's house? Can we do that?
Yeah, I've tried to avoid getting doing that because unfortunately a lot of the accidents that are out there occur due to those stupid politricks.
FAA on line 1.
So
Yes.
Scott, as a photographer, one of my bucket list photos is nighttime lightning storm from the air, that like crazy shot of the cumulonimbus cloud. Do you have that in your portfolio?
I have a few of those pictures. The problem with nighttime flying, especially when you're dealing around different thunderstorms and convection, is that it's really hard. You have to stay in those kind of cases visual. And it's really hard to do that, and you don't want to find any clouds. Of course, you can't get pictures when you're in the clouds itself. Plus, you may find yourself into a developing cumulus cloud, and you don't want to do that. So, and it's also you have to have the right camera equipment to be able to do that. You're also in a moving airplane trying to get a good shot of lightning, and pictures sometimes turn out blurry. Sometimes you just don't quite get what you intended to get. So it's a lot more difficult at night, but that's probably the coolest aspect of flying in terms of being able to get that perfect picture of a thunderstorm.
So Scott, what's the longest flight that you've ever taken? Do you do international? Like, do you fly overseas?
I don't. I've flown to Canada a couple times. But in smaller airplanes, you just in order for like airplanes to be ferried over to Europe, they actually go up through Nova Scotia and up over to Iceland and hop over there. They typically have to be outfitted with extra fuel tanks in the airplane itself. So they put this bladder in the airplane, and they fill it up with extra fuel so they can get across those oceans. And my longest flight was probably, I've flown across the country literally probably 3 or 4 dozen times from east to the west coast. Usually we break that up into a 2-day trip. With the smaller airplanes, you just can't really, you don't want to be flying when you're tired. But I've seen the Rockies from a different position that most people never see, and it's actually gorgeous.
One last question, because I sense we're going to break. Are you part of the Mile High Club now?
Oh, geez.
Well,
What's that?
What's that?
What's it?
No, I have to say that's still on my bucket list.
You're young, Scott. You got lots of time, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm interested in lightning in the air, all that kind of stuff. Give me an idea of why I should feel safe flying potentially through or close to a lightning storm, anything like that.
Well, Phil, turns out that most lightning strikes are aircraft induced, not natural lightning. And it actually, if you remember, it was Apollo 12, I think, got struck twice as it was taking off, or as it was lifting off. And that was basically induced by the aircraft itself. Wow. And there was not a single natural lightning strike 6 hours or 6 hours before or after that liftoff. So most aircraft, if you look at the number of hours a commercial aircraft flies, we're talking airliners, most of them get struck at least once per year. and it's all induced by the aircraft itself. And usually it happens around the freezing level in areas where there's precipitation. So it's rare to see a lightning airplane just happen to get in the way of a lightning bolt. It does happen. Usually that's down low near the surface, but it's you would just have to literally be at the wrong place at the wrong time to get struck by lightning.
So if anything happens to the aircraft because of the lightning, you can just say, hey, it's your own fault. You created it.
That's right.
So I'm sorry, airplane, that you are now crashing to your. No, but but how am I feeling? So you told me how it's created.
Yes.
But how am I feeling safe when our airplane gets struck by lightning and knowing that nothing's? Am I safe, or are there some dangers involved?
Well, there are some dangers. A lot of times, depending on where the lightning strikes, you can actually get the avionics in the airplane can get disrupted. I've seen a number of instrument panels fried because of lightning, but normally it enters in one place and exits out another. A lot of these airplanes have wicks on them that tends to try to avoid any significant damage. A lot of times it will, if you ever seen a 172, Cessna 172, they have a little mirror that sits down so they can see it's on the strut. Sometimes the lightning actually exits out of that mirror. So there's a number of places where you see these exit and entry points for the lightning, but it's in most cases, pilots don't even know they've been hit by lightning. They'll see the flash, and it's not really a strong lightning strike like you might see in a supercell thunderstorm. It's typically a low amperage strike that happens. So it's not terribly dangerous if that were to occur and you're flying in a commercial aircraft, or the biggest worry you have is that you actually got into the center of the storm, and then lightning is not the problem. It's extreme turbulence.
You feel better now, Phil,
basically a
right?
Faraday
Yes.
cage, right, Scott?
Yeah, you're protected. You're not going to, I've never heard of any pilot being electrocuted in that particular scenario. I guess it could happen, but it's similar to being protected in a car from that standpoint. But I can almost guarantee you that if you were struck by lightning, is that the airplane needs to be very well looked over, just because the simple fact is it could have some serious damage on it.
So I've seen vehicles struck by lightning, and it basically kills all the electric. It kills the car, right? Stops dead in its tracks. Could the same thing happen to a plane?
Not usually. I guess it depends. If you have a piston airplane that I fly, should not be affected by that, because all that's basically generated through the power to run the airplane is essentially generated through the magnetos. What you would have problems with potentially is if you have an aircraft that relies a lot more on electricity throughout the thing, as opposed to some of the steam gauge round gauges that you see in some of the older aircraft. Some of the avionics these days, most of these even small general aviation airplanes have a full glass panel in front of them. So that would be pretty significant if you lost every aspect of your way to navigate and the way to know whether or not your airplane is shiny side up or anything like that.
Was anybody nervous when he said not usually? I was like,
usually.
wait a minute.
I love how Curtis, in one of our Patreon members in the chat, said, "So you're saying there's a chance?" It was nice. So hey, so I want to let everybody know, hey, so it's the giving season, right? And it's upon us. But at helicity.co/SFF for Stormfront Freaks, they've got a huge selection of weather and hurricane themed t-shirts and merchandise, including the Stormfront Freaks shirts, beverage containers, and stickers. For that, got to go get a refill, so you can too, and we'll be right back with more from Scott.
What's on Crackle tonight?
What was this one called? This was some pilot movie. This is the movie where the big Boeing plane gets hit by a small single prop plane.
Oh, it's Airport
77?
No.
I thought it was one of those.
Maybe it's a
Yeah.
Hey Scott, who's the
Final Descent.
Who's the coolest pilot?
The coolest pilot. Well,
Answer is Sully.
well, I was going to say that because Sully is definitely a pilot. But I tell you, there was my favorite pilot of all times, and he's not a known pilot, was out of Providence, Rhode Island. They were basically, it was fogged in. And at that point in time, the tower controller can't really see the airplanes on the field at all. Literally, it's fogged in. The tower cab is actually in the clouds, so they have to direct traffic. Well, in that particular case, there was an airplane that was taking off, and eventually another one that landed. The one that landed got lost.
Oh.
And on the runway, and reported them being in the wrong place. And they were actually still kind of on the runway, and another airplane took off over top of it, and you could hear in the communications the roar of the airplane over top. Well, there was another airplane about to take off, and the air traffic controller should have just stopped everybody at that point and just said, all arrivals, we're stopping right now until we find that airplane. But there was at that time was US Air pilot was ready to take off. And the air traffic controller said, "You're cleared for takeoff." And he said, "I'm not moving until we find that other airplane."
Good.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, that's that's the kind of pilot that I look up after, that was willing to say, "No, we can't do this."
Thanks.
Yeah. Favorite show ever is Mayday. Have you ever seen Mayday?
Mayday, no.
Yeah, it's a show that does recreations of airline accidents, and the forensics behind it, and then what the industry's done to prevent it from happening in the future. Super cool show.
Yeah. Do you fly much, Greg?
Do I fly much?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with airplanes. Oh. I've got my junior Eagle wings because I've taken two flight lessons, so I got my junior.
All right.
I thought you were talking the ones that the pilots give you when you're departing the plane, and
I got a few of those too, Phil.
Hey, Greg, if you do the OK sign with both fingers,
Dan's got it,
and you put it upside down, it looks like Junior Birdman. Sorry.
Maz, what were you drinking again?
What was that? That was some good stuff.
It's just cake in a can. That's all it is.
Dan and Angela, you guys, any questions for Scott?
I mean, so like before you fly, do you look at like surface maps and stuff like that to figure out what conditions you're going to have along your route?
I mean, it's a variety of different things. I think most pilots you can actually call a specific briefer. That the FAA has a contractor that does that. 1-800-weather brief, WX brief, and basically they'll walk you through all of that. Personally, I actually will go online and use the prog charts that are issued by the Weather Prediction Center. I use all the various different forecast models, the GFS, the HER, the NAM. Look at all the upper level charts from there. And especially a lot of the simulate reflectivity or forecast radar charts that are now out there. Plus, aviation actually has a terminal forecast. It's basically, I know you have a name of terminal in aviation, but it's called a terminal forecast because it's the terminal area. And that particular forecast is kind of like an hour-by-hour forecast over the next 24 or 30 hours for things like ceiling, visibility, and wind.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and you said you're primarily GA, and I was just curious what your type rating was.
Well, I don't have a type rating in that particular case. I basically have an airplane single engine land, which means that there's land or sea. I have airplane single engine land, and I have an instrument rating. I have a complex aircraft endorsement. That means I can fly airplanes that have retractable landing gears. Also have a high performance endorsement, which means I can fly airplanes that have at least one engine over 200 horsepower. That's about it. And I have a flight instructor certificate with an instrument rating on that, and also an advanced ground instructor certificate.
Is there such a thing as an airplane with one engine, 200 horsepower?
Yeah, there's if you've ever seen one that has a pusher puller, has a engine on the back and engine on the front, it's kind of a along the same axis of the airplane itself. And it could have a engine that has a different horsepower on one versus the other.
Okay, I don't know
That's
that I've
cool.
seen that.
I don't know that I know what he's talking about.
We'll have to share a picture.
Have you flown one of those before?
No, I've never flown one of
Okay.
those.
That's interesting. All right. Well, here's what we'll do. We will come back from break. I will start with a few other questions. Scott, I'll ask you a little bit about your. So you have an app that you created, correct?
Yes.
And I know you've written a book.
Mm-hmm.
What else have you created? Because that's already a lot, but I didn't want to miss something.
Yeah, I mean,
3 kids.
I got three kids. Let's see here. Well, I mean, I've written for different aviation magazines,
Okay.
probably well over 200 articles.
Got it. Yeah,
Over the years.
which is cool. I mean, trust me, those things alone were enough. I didn't want to miss asking you about something because I did want to ask you about the app specifically.
Okay.
And I just didn't know if there was maybe another like software program or something in there that I thought I read about. But okay. Yep. So that's probably what I'm going to start with. We'll maybe go for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then we will jump to our lightning round, which is our game show. When you hear that's the sound. We're going to go to the game show. We'll play that, and once we're done, we'll go to second break. Anybody any questions? All right, let's do
for
this.
him or just in general?
Just in general.
Okay.
Here we go. Coming in 3, 2. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We've got Scott Dennstaedt here with us, and we're talking weather and aviation. One of the neat things, Scott, that I know you've done that I kind of want to find out a little bit more about, to kind of geek out about, you've created an app that combines obviously those two things, I guess. Tell us a little bit about that app, and what was that brainchild all about? Where'd that come from?
Sure. I developed as part of my doctoral dissertation. I was one of the things that you learn as a pilot is that aircraft accidents that are what are called VFR, flying visual flight rules, into instrument meteorological conditions kills a lot of pilots. And I wanted to try to develop an application, a weather briefing application, that would help eliminate that for this particular situation. So I spent 3.5 years on my dissertation, and out popped this new application called Easy Weather Brief, AvWx Brief. And it's a progressive web app, not something you'll find on the App Store. And what it does is it uses something called personal weather minimums, meaning that we know that not all pilots are made alike, meaning that if I'm a pilot that only has a couple hundred hours versus somebody that has 10,000 hours of time, I'm definitely not, as a 200-hour pilot, going to be a little bit more cautious. And my minimums, even though the FAA publishes certain minimums, that doesn't mean that I have to fly to those minimums. Instead, I can set my minimums to be a little higher bar more conservatively. And this particular app basically uses those minimums, looks at the weather along a proposed route of flight, and evaluates that in a way that allows them to kind of quantify the risk that they're taking on any particular flight. So it points out that, hey, this flight's not going to be possible due to the fact that you've got some lower ceilings along your route of flight that don't meet your personal minimums. And ultimately, that would be the goal, is to get this into hands of all pilots out there so that they can essentially eliminate this kind of accident.
And it's all along the entire journey. So if you're doing like a 4 or 5 hour flight, as the weather changes along the flight?
Yes, exactly. It's basically takes all the model forecast data and pulls it all in, and it combines it, using my secret sauce, so to speak, as part of the dissertation work that I did. And at that point in time, it will look for all these elements that are important for pilots, and it'll point it out to them. And the goal is to find what the departure time that meets all your personal minimums. So really, I call this an easy departure advisor. And it shows you, if you depart between this hour and this hour, that's going to meet all your minimums. And it looks along your entire route for that particular those elements, and it makes getting to the answer much quicker. And so ultimately, it helps pilots save time.
Scott, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I wish I had that when I flew, because I was VFR rated. So if I got in over my head and the cloud ceiling came down, I was in trouble. So say it picks you a time, maybe it is a little bit above your minimum. You feel a little more comfortable. Will it give you the option of saying flying a little higher or a little lower or something like that too?
Yeah, so basically I provide a vertical cross-section, a route profile that shows the entire route. So it'll show clouds, it'll show icing, turbulence, and areas of where that would be convection. And so you're able to quickly pinpoint that because you can see it vertically and it's painted graphically in front of you. So that way you can say, okay, well, maybe I'm going to have some issues along my route of flight, sort of halfway in between. But maybe if I fly at a specific altitude, I can stay above the clouds and then get to my destination and land in, essentially clear air. So yeah, it helps you do all that as well.
Scott, can you use this on like a commercial flight or before a commercial flight and be like, I know what I'm about to get into, or if it's going to be like really turbulent?
Yes, I do that all the time myself when I fly commercially. And so I can, I'll set the altitude that I'm planning to fly up at 39,000 feet or whatever I go into FlightAware and I pull out what the altitude's going to be. And so I put all that in there so I can immediately see what kind of turbulence we might face or, how close we're going to get to that convection. So yeah, I usually do that myself.
Oh, that's so fun. I'm doing that before every flight now.
Yeah.
And after 3 years, this is all free. The whole app is free, right?
After 3 years. Yeah, if you pay me lots of money up front, then the rest of the time it's free.
I was just thinking, I hope you're charging good money for this, Scott.
Right.
Yes, it's basically the way I do this, and it's kind of unique, is that it's $79 a year, but you can do a 14-day trial. But once you've been a member for a year, I have a tell us what you want to pay option. You can tell me what you want to pay for the app.
Wow.
And so I've had people, pay me $1. And I've had people pay me, $300 for the year because they, I had an attorney come up to me at a show I was doing. He said, Scott, you saved me an hour of time. Your app was so great. It just saved me an hour of time. And I charge my clients $400 an hour. So I owe you $400.
Wow.
Nice.
Do you want us to edit out the dollar comment you made?
So no, that's okay.
Okay.
So
Just
is
check.
this,
What was the attorney's name?
is this only good in the lower 40, lower like the lower, like the contiguous United States kind of thing?
Get it out, Greg.
Yeah, so right now it's basically the conterminous U.S. plus southern Canada and northern Mexico and maybe a little bit of the Caribbean, but yeah, I haven't expanded it yet to up to Alaska or anywhere else in the world. So it's basically a U.S.
What's
product.
the limitation on that then? Is it the model data that you're like? What prevents you?
Celsius.
Well, what prevents it is that we use I use some of the forecast products for icing and turbulence, for example, that only cover the rapid refresh domain.
Oh, gotcha.
And so, and I know these products don't necessarily cover all the domain, but a limited amount of the domain. So I try to use those products rather than trying to invent my own icing algorithms or turbulence algorithms, and so that kind of limits where we can do it right now. But I'm sure that in the future that will that will change, and I'll expand it out at that point in time.
Well, hey, that's the sound, Scott. That means it is time for our lightning round. So this is our game show of flashy and brilliant questions that we always get to play with our guest, and tonight is no different. I pulled this out of a hat, and we're gonna play tonight. This is the IMDb top 100 air disaster flicks. And so I pulled this out, and here's what we'll do, Scott. Is I'm going to give you 2 air disaster flicks. You have to tell me which was the highest rated of the 2 in the IMDb top 100 most popular air disaster flicks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you just got to tell me which one you think was rated the highest. And the freaks, they can kind of help out. Like they're the poll the audience kind of thing. They can help out and chime in maybe what they think, because possibly you've never heard of some of these. I'm not saying you've even heard of some, right? So
I thought you were going to say we could steal.
Like,
no,
Greg,
no, you
Greg.
guys don't get any points
We're
tonight
just
out
here
of
to
this.
help.
Yeah, Greg, you want to know why they call it the cockpit?
No.
Yes. Fire. I don't know what that
Airplane.
drink is. Something.
I
Maz.
like movies about gladiators.
See?
All right, so here we go. Here are the first two, Scott. You got to tell me which of these two was rated highest in the IMDb Top 100. Flight 666, that's one of Maz's favorites, or Airplane versus Volcano. Which of those two was rated? And they were both. Here's the scary part. They're both in the top 100. So which one is higher?
Well, let's see. Tom Hanks had a movie. It was something in the volcano. What was it?
Joe versus
Joe.
the volcano.
Joe versus the volcano. I don't think that did very well. So, what do you guys think?
I don't know. The 666 one, I that's what would get me.
It was really
Yeah.
999, but it was flying upside down.
Right.
Flying inverted. Yeah, I would go with the volcano.
Airplane versus Volcano rated higher?
Yes.
No.
That is incorrect.
Bummer.
Flight 666 was rated 39th. Airplane versus Volcano 53.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
All right, here's a couple. These two you're probably more familiar with. We have Sully, and we have Die Hard 2. Which
Die
of those
Hard
was rated
2.
more popular in the top 100?
Definitely Sully. Definitely Sully.
Die Hard 2.
I haven't seen
Yeah, I
Sully.
think Die Hard too.
I would say
It's
Die Hard too.
Yeah, Sully was great, but it's got to be Die Hard because it's
Yeah.
entertaining.
Just because it is.
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I love Bruce Willis, so I have to go with Die Hard. Die Hard 2.
That is
Yeah.
correct. That is correct.
And
Well
that's
done.
plays
sad,
every
isn't it?
Christmas
It
or
is.
something, doesn't it?
It is actually sad.
All right, here's the next two. We have Airplane, the comedy, and we have The Concorde, Airport 79, one of the
Oh.
famed airport
Airplane.
films.
I would say
Airplane.
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 I mean, Airplane is a classic, so
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind it's got to be Airplane.
And don't call me Shirley.
I'm going.
Oh, sure.
It is Airplane. So hey, so
Leslie Nielsen.
Turkish prison.
I forgot to
speak
tell
back.
you, Sully was rated 6th. Die Hard 2 was number 1.
Really?
Airplane is number 2 on that list. The Concorde Airport 79 was 32. All right, here's the next two. We have the original Airport from the 70s, and we have United 93. Which of those films is rated higher?
United 93.
United 93.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that one.
I would probably do the 93 as well.
United 93? That is correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. United 93 was 10th. Airport is 17th.
Okay.
All right, here's some favorites. Soul Plane, and Flight Plan. Soul Plane
Flight Plan.
and Flight
I
Plan.
Flight
would say
Plan.
Flight Plan too.
Flight Plan? Okay, we'll do Flight Plan.
That is correct.
Hopefully you have one with
That's a
snakes on
shocker to
plane.
me. Flight Plane was 9th, but Soul Plane didn't even make top 10. It was 24. So
Flight Plan,
I
that was
question
Jodie-
this
Jodie
list a little
Foster,
bit.
though, right? I think so.
Yeah.
All right, two favorites. Flight of the Living Dead or Snakes on a Plane.
Oh,
Snakes on a plane.
Snakes on the plane for sure.
I was wondering if you
Yeah.
had that one.
is there a plane, NATO?
What are you sick and tired of, guys? What are you sick
didn't
and
see
tired
that.
of?
I didn't see that. Snakes on a Plane was
tired.
7. Flight of the Living Dead 45. All right, here's the last two. This is gonna be a tough one. All right, Scott. We have covered. Number 1 was Die Hard 2. Airplane was number 2. These two. One of these is higher than the other. Con Air or Air Force One.
Air Force One.
Air Force
Love
One.
Air Force One.
Air Force One.
Harrison Ford, baby.
Yes, Harrison Ford. There you go.
No way. No way.
No.
way.
Harrison Ford's better
No, Con Air number 3, Air Force 113.
Wow.
No way.
Con Air with that goofy
That was with
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
That's a good flick. That's actually
It's
good
good,
film.
but it's Harrison
it was pretty
Ford.
good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Anyway, good job. You did pretty good on that, Scott. Very good. Well done. You know your disaster flight movies.
That's a shame.
All right, well, do us a favor. Tell our listeners how they can follow you on social media and or track down your book and your app. Where can they get these things?
Sure. Well, my app is EZWXBrief.com. That's EZWXBrief.com. My book is called Pilot Web from Solo to the Airlines. It was written with me and my co-author who was a Boeing 787 captain for Air Canada. And you can go to pilotweatherbook.com for that. And you can find me on social media. I've in Twitter, for instance, at AvWxWorkshops.
So when we address you, does the doctor come before captain? Is it Captain Doctor, Dr. Captain?
Yeah, I'll just stick with the doctor thing.
Very good. Well, hey, everybody, it's time for our final break, but we got some more shenanigans to come, so stay tuned.
Scott, that was great.
that
so
was fun.
awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I loved it. Yeah.
He's smiling. He likes us.
That's right. There you go.
I can't wait to download your app. I'm so going to do that and test that out on my next flight.
Yeah, I'll watch for you, and I'll give you a free year.
So
Oh.
here's what I was
Woo!
thinking this whole time was that I was going to download it, and I'm going to be on a plane here in about 4 days. I'm going to download it, and I'm going to, as I get on the plane, I'm going to take a left to the pilot's cockpit and go, hey, when we're about 50 miles out, you might want to drop it to about 10,000 feet. 'Cause
You'd be like, shut the door.
Ex-
Because Dr. Captain told me.
That's right.
that is a good question, though, Scott. Do you have any like airlines that have like bulk purchased this for their pilots or anything like
No,
that?
airlines fly such great equipment. They don't need this kind of stuff.
I
They're
see.
trained. They have onboard radar. They have dispatchers that do a lot of this stuff for them. They fly above most of the weather. It's just not a non-event for them.
But you could
Gotcha.
market it to the passengers.
Yes, you could.
Mm,
Yes, you could.
Oh, yeah.
Like rate your doctor,
Yes.
rate your pilot.
Great.
Dr.
That's
Scott's
good.
a million.
As Josh says, he'd use it to determine how many drinks he needs to deal with the turbulence.
Right.
Nice.
True fact.
That's our app.
That's right. Well, Scott, hey, I appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on. That was a lot of fun. And
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
we'll edit this to create the audio podcast, and that will be going up not this weekend, but next weekend. As you were aware, obviously we moved you up a week for scheduling reasons, and so I appreciate your flexibility on that as well. But that was a lot of fun, so thank you for giving
Yeah,
us
not
your
a
time.
problem. Thanks.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yep, good time.
Merry
So thanks,
Christmas,
Scott. Have a
Scott.
great night.
All right,
Yep,
take care, guys.
Merry
Yep, take care. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Bye. That was so
So
good.
Phil, the wasted
I got a question.
weather.
Uh,
I haven't
now
done
you
this
have-
Oh,
before.
yeah.
hold
Oh,
on, let me
sorry.
text him. Let me text. I totally forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Ask me, Dan.
Hey,
What-
I gotta go refill. Hold on.
Would this app be good
Dina, it's
for
your birthday.
drone
Get a
pilots
refill.
flying up to 400
I
AGL?
did.
Oh,
Fly-
good
what's that
question.
again?
I don't know.
What's the question? I'm sorry.
Would this be good flying up to what?
Yeah, would this app be good for drone pilots flying up to 400 AGL?
Oh.
Dina?
I mean, I would say probably because you're gonna need that height for takeoff and landing. So I mean, he might have it. I bet you he would. He's gonna probably have airport reports, like all the reports, like winds and stuff at the airport. And 400 feet isn't that so big? So I think he could. It's like all this
But-
cool technology after I freaking do it and I have to do like a
Mhm.
spinning freaking wheel.
Jen,
you know?
remember to share the app. Just saying.
I will.
That's
I
it.
will.
Pass it around like a Netflix
Hey,
password.
hang on. we're still live, so okay.
Oh yeah. Oops.
Oh
Oh my
man.
God, I
Just
love you
kidding.
guys. You
But
guys are
guys,
amazing.
the wasted weather, is that when they like we have a voice of somebody who sounds wasted because he slowed
No,
it
they
down?
That's the
really
slowdown,
are.
yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
we're live.
Yeah.
They really
Oh,
are
shit.
wasted.
That's right. It's
Wait, this is semi new.
he finds that on the dark web, and it's somebody that was.
Yes.
Come on now.
I've worked
Yeah.
with people like
I
that.
haven't done the wasted weather intro before.
Hey, MJ.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to, for Weather Fools, I'm going to try to share my screen.
We like that.
A video. Can you tell me if that would work?
Hey,
Yeah.
can I quick before you do that, Griggles?
Yeah.
Can I ask when you guys? I'd like to try when you guys share and play your Weather Fools, and you share your screen. Can you click on the Share System Audio at the bottom when it pulls up your share screen window?
I see.
Oh, share system audio. Yeah, I see it.
Because then
Where do
we'll
you see
actually be
that?
able to hear, like if it's a video and people are laughing or saying, we'll actually be able to hear it too.
Oh,
But where do you see that? I see like stop
it's in-
sharing and hide.
No, so
No.
so when you hit, are you sharing already, Dina? So stop
Yeah, I
it.
just did.
Stop it.
Okay.
Okay,
All
now
right.
go back to share
Yeah.
screen, and down at the
All right.
bottom, there's a little box you can check
There
that
it
says share
is.
system audio.
Yeah.
you have to
ba-
share a tab. You have to do a Chrome tab for that, I think. Don't
No,
you?
Yeah,
it's
prob-
there
no?
at the bottom. Oh, it
Okay.
is, but it's in. Yeah. I
Yep,
see
yep,
it,
yep.
though.
Yeah, if
Okay.
it's on the internet, just share your Chrome tab.
Good, because mine's all about the audio.
Good.
wanna
Let's
test-
try it.
and then-
I
You want
don't.
to test that theory out?
Yeah, sure.
You want to try it?
Who wants to try it?
I will
Dina?
do mine first.
Phil, okay.
Okay.
Let's do mine first, because I think it also has to do a little bit with.
I can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Like they're not saying anything right now, but
No.
so Dina, try yours. Maybe mine's
Okay,
probably
hang
not a
on,
good
hang
one
on,
without
hang
giving
on.
it away. Yes, we can hear that.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
That's good.
All right.
And
We
and
check.
it's not too loud, so it's not going to be overpowering you talking about it. But you'll at least kind of be able to hear it a little bit in the background, and I think that might add to the audio podcast a little bit more.
Okay.
give that a shot.
I have a weather fool, Greg.
Okay, I have
Okay.
one as well. Phil.
I
Phil,
actually
Dina.
I have one, but it's not a weather fool. It's actually someone surprisingly being smart, and I kind of want to show it.
No,
All right.
I don't.
That's
Nah,
anti-fool.
I take veto
anti-fool.
power on that, so you
Ah.
have to tell me what it is.
Oh my God, hold on. Let me see if I can share the screen. Hold on.
when you start that next segment called "Weather Smart People," then
Then we'll do
That
that.
is
Right.
fun. We want to make fun of them.
Yeah,
Weather genius. Weather genius.
there's
There you go.
got to be. Just tell me what it is. You don't have to show me. Just tell me what it is.
It's so they're actually crawling. They're being smart. They're crawling. Like this whole street is like all iced up, and instead of like running across it, he's actually slowly.
Okay, that's fine. That sounds
it's
funny.
a pub crawl. It's a
Yeah,
pub
we'll do that. It is a pub crawl. It's usually what it is. They're just drunk.
That's right.
And Phil, when I introduced this wasted weather, since I haven't introduced it, we were saying like, hey, we searched the dark web for people who might have been a little tipsy a little
Yep.
too early or something.
Yep, these are our weather friends who might have been drinking a little too much, and so these clips were discarded and thrown into the dark web, and we found them, and we're going to play them for you.
Okay.
It's just one clip, but yeah, that's exactly how to do it. It's funny
Okay.
because here's the thing, like the dark web, like we only use that. I mentioned this in our last show, right? Like the quote unquote dark web, I only use for like wasted weather, potty mouth forecasts, where it sounds like they're swearing. And then for our
Trollbot
porn,
5000.
no,
No.
not Trollbot 5000, porn or Storm Chaser.
Storm chaser.
Oh.
But Brady,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That was
Brady's
Greg's
dark
idea, by
web
the way,
line.
but.
That was Brady's.
But yeah,
idea?
Brady's like weather
No.
fools. We look at the dark web, and I'm like,
Yeah,
Brady, we don't look at the dark web for weather fools. This is open web.
They're out in plain sight.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
And what is Brady doing on the dark web anyway?
Good question.
He's too young for that. Well, no, that's why he's there.
All right, so Greg, you are opening to, because it's Christmas time, so we're having a little Christmas music. And Dina, you are opening to.
I might have to
Dashing
take
through the
Amsterdam
snow.
for a second.
Biting your bottom lip, MJ.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh.
Okay, so that's what you guys will open to. Greg, when we finish up hashtag Weather Fools, see them all on episode 146.
146.
Show notes. Wasted Weather, we're not putting that on. It's dark web stuff, so we can't post that on our show notes.
Oh, so don't say
No.
episode 146.
No,
Okay.
because it's just listen to it there's nothing to watch. There's no link to it. So when you're done, MJ, we have Freak Fan Box.
I got one.
All right, so we'll do Freak Fan Box, and then I'll close it up. Everybody good? We'll keep Dan and Angela in now.
MJ, just a tip. Don't say we finally have one.
42 years, we got one.
Episode 146, we get
I shook it, and I shook it, and one fell out.
Oh my God! Here we go, Greg. You're coming in 3, 2.
All right. It's time for hashtag Weather Fools. This is where we find amazing videos and interesting tidbits of weather stuff where people doing dumb things in the weather. And I think we've got a few. Phil, let's start with you today.
Wow, you're going to start with me.
Yeah,
I feel
let's
so
start with
privileged. All right, so this is out of YouTube. You know, we're starting to get some snow falling right now. So some people are living in snow at this moment. This is a video of someone's backyard cam, like their camera overlooking their back deck and their backyard in the snow. And it looks like a young couple with a little toddler. And I'm just going to play this a little bit here. And you can see this little tiny toddler in like a onesie snowsuit.
Wow, that is a youngin'.
It's so cute.
Standing in the snow. And I will preface this by telling you that I really don't think this little one is really excited about the snow. Like, is afraid to touch it, doesn't want to move. He's like standing in one spot and he doesn't want to move. And so I'll preface that when I play the rest of this video. They're like, oh, look at the cute, look at, he's doing so good. Oh! and so what happens is he starts to lose his balance, but he's afraid to touch the snow and block his fall, so he just blocks his fall with his face. He starts to wobble. He's going up, boom.
That is so adorable. Oh my god.
And what's hilarious is his parents are just laughing. They're just like, this kid's probably terrified. So I don't know if the weather fool are the parents because they let their child face plant into the snow. Or maybe it's the toddler because the toddler's afraid to touch the snow, and I'll call the toddler a weather fool. I don't care.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jen, you've
so
got
cute.
something for Weather Fools as well.
I do have something. So I've shared my screen, and this is actually from TikTok. And so I'm going to, preface this a little bit before I play it, but you've got like iced roads, like kind of like a little bit of an intersection of iced roads. And it's like, you wouldn't want to be driving on it. You wouldn't want to be walking on it. But instead we have a person crawling on it, and I think there's a person watching.
Oh, look at that.
Being
Like the pub, it's just so close.
So, I would originally be like, oh, this might be like a weather fool, but they're actually smart. They're figuring out how to get to their destination.
So they
Then
stick
he's
their
just drunk.
tongue on the
He's just
road.
shit-faced.
Perhaps smart by accident, right?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, so that is my weather quote unquote fool, but actually I think they're a little smarty pants because they're doing it.
They're just drunk.
the right way. Yeah.
That's a good
We need
weather
to get
fool.
a
They're drunk.
hashtag weather drunk.
Ooh, that might be
That might
next.
be good.
Given that it was TikTok too, Jen, the music was perfect for that as well.
I thought so too. Yeah.
And Dina, you've got something for Weather Fools as well.
Yeah, and this is a meteorologist, Daniel Maslowski, if I'm saying it right. But
Wow.
he said if there's one thing I've learned on the job, it's that you make mistakes in the learning process. You might stutter and trip over your words, but this, you got to listen to it. Okay, you should have the audio. And he just keeps doing it. He's like, oh.
Wow, settle down, bud.
And he keeps doing it.
Oh, Mohawk Valley forecast.
I'm surprised
By
the director
8, 9
didn't
p.m. we
like
should
any shits. He said
we
it
should
shits.
see some breaks in the clouds. As we
This
pointed
had to
out
be
that
his
they were
first
starting
job.
to see it-
I mean, this is a 51-second hit, and he is
Meteorologist Sam
just
Saucy here with your
effing
note.
up the whole
Why don't you
thing.
Just give up.
And he gives up, and then he
Already
leaves.
did a good one. No.
Question: did he
I
come
just
back the
think it's
next
so funny.
day?
Like, he was really funny about it, but it's one of those things. Like, once you make that first mistake, it's like it's in your mind, and you just can't get over the hump. And oh my god,
Nice Channel 9 janitor. All right.
he's not. I doubt. I'm surprised the director didn't cut him. He's like, commercial rap.
Oh my god, that was bad.
But I like that one. That's a funny one if you want to listen to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Dina. Okay, MJ, I've got one as well. If you want to cue mine up. So this is a video, actually, guys, that I shot a few years ago at Chapman, Kansas. This is the same storm that produced the Chapman, Kansas EF4 tornado. And I thought this was appropriate for tonight, given that we had Scott, our pilot, on. So I'm going to put this into motion, this video, and you're going to see flying in on the right-hand
Nice
side
time-lapse.
in a moment. Yeah, you're going to see a plane flying into this storm.
Oh
What
my!
the hell?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
You're right.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, okay, let me play that again. This guy
That was a
is a
UFO.
weather fool. This is
Yeah.
this is a storm that produced an EF4 tornado, and this airplane's flying right into
Oh my
it.
gosh!
That is crazy.
So
I'm sure. I'm sure he
wow.
couldn't see it with all that lightning going on.
Right. So anyway, you can check out all of the Weather Fools on episode 146 episode. I've had a few of these drinks. So episode 146 show notes, and that was hashtag Weather Fools.
I just kind of like the music and want to kind of jam out for a second, but this is the part of the show we call Wasted Weather, and this is where we kind of search the dark web and we find somebody that might have had a little too much to drink. You know, like some of those chief meteorologists who are on the 11 o'clock show and they've gone out to dinner and had a few already. So, Phil, I think you have that queued up for us, don't you?
So I do. So you guys know Al Roker, right?
Yeah.
Dina,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know Al. So Al Roker, and one of the things, he does lots of other things besides weather now. And one of the other things he's heavily involved in is Thanksgiving Day, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, lots of stuff. And so he was on a little promotional tour for some Thanksgiving programming. And in this promotional tour, he was doing these cuts with all these local NBC affiliates. And my guess is he was starting Thanksgiving Day early, and he was probably on the juice while he was going through some of these interviews for some of these local stations. So I will play this.
The countdown to Thanksgiving is officially on, so let's kick off the holiday season with the one, the only, Al Roker. Al, so much to talk about today. I see by that smile on your face, you're probably going to be eating. Tell us what's going on in the Today Show Plaza.
Hey, Chris. So it's we're back. We're bringing back our Chefapalooza. It's 21 chefs for 2021. Some of the best chefs in America, bringing you their shortcuts, their food tips, everything you need to know to make sure you have a fantastic Thanksgiving, from substitutions, last-minute tricks, and Martha Stewart has an item for you.
Yeah.
Why would a T-shirt be your turkey's best friend.
Wow. He was having some hot toddies.
That was a struggle. Oh my God, that's amazing.
What's the answer to the joke?
I don't know. Like I have no idea. They didn't. I think the local affiliate figured out, okay, I better get through this interview really fast, and he just moved on to a different topic. So that was Al Roker enjoying himself pre-Thanksgiving.
That's amazing.
So good job, Al. So all right, let's check out our Freak Fan Box.
Send me a postcard, drop me a line.
You've got mail, baby, yeah.
Hey, MJ, did you know that part of that song is the Beatles?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Have you watched that Get Back documentary on Disney Plus?
I have not yet. No, you mentioned that, and we're going to, but no, haven't yet.
It is outstanding.
Really?
Loved it. Loved it.
Awesome. Well, we do have mail.
All right.
We're just talking.
Absolutely. So Paige.
We want love letters.
Paige checked in. Well, this one's kind of,
yeah, we want some love letters.
They're a little love from Paige here, who is at Tornado Paige YY on Twitter, and checked in with a thanks for getting me through 2021. And what was nice is they posted their Spotify badge that showed that Stormfront Freaks was their most listened to podcast this year.
Nice.
With some 38 episodes or something like that.
You said it's Tornado Page 44 or something?
At
or
Tornado Page YY.
YY. All right, I'm going to have
and
to
his
follow
page
her.
is Page
P-A-I-G-E.
Right.
P-A-I-G-E. Yes.
That is
All right.
the best fan letter we've ever gotten.
Yeah,
I know.
thanks for the love letter,
great.
Paige.
So we love you, Paige. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Paige, you're
Greg,
amazing.
how many years are you in for? What cell block are you in there?
Jeez.
I'd tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
So thank you, Paige, and you can tell by our reaction, we love to get these messages from folks. So keep them coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Well, hey, everybody, that just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks podcast. Thanks for listening or watching. Hey, but before I get to our next guests or our next episode, if you like the show, don't forget to subscribe, okay? And I say this every episode, everybody, but we have thousands of downloads, and would love it if, the thousands of you that listen to us, hopefully more than once, could comment on your podcast app. Let us know what you like about the show, so we know what to do and keep doing more of if that's what you like. And also subscribe or follow us on your podcast app. You can get notified and receive the latest episodes of the show delivered right to your podcast player the moment that we release it. So you don't have to go looking for it. It'll be there right when we get a new one up there. Also, as we mentioned earlier in the show, visit patreon.com/Stormfront Freaks. You can check out all the ways we do more with you and how you can also help support the show, whether it's the live access to view and chat during our raw video recordings, exclusive merch, which we've been sending out. A lot of our Patreon members are getting all kinds of cool things, hats, beer steins. I know Dan and Angela, we just sent out some of these awesome Midland radio products, and we're going to do some drawings for that with our other Patreon folks. All you got to do is visit patreon.com/Stormfront Freaks, and you can join the team. I want to thank everybody for supporting the show. Dan and Angela are on. I know Steve, Curtis, Josh, they're all on as well. So, and all the rest of you, thank you very much for helping us out. Special thanks to our guest tonight, Dr. Scott Dennstaedt. Thank you very much. Had a great time with Scott.
Yeah, awesome.
It's kind of cool because we don't get a lot of, we don't talk aviation and weather much. It's kind of a neat topic to bring that in. So that was kind of cool, and I'm sure Dina was loving it too.
Yeah.
And let's do this, freaks. Let's go around, kind of find out how people can follow you too, and get a chance to follow you on social media. MJ, I will start with you.
Yep, at Mark Stormpod on Twitter, and Mark is M-A-R-C.
Very good. All right, Jen, how about you?
Instagram at Jennifer Weather, and on Twitter at JWatson_WX.
Cool. Birthday, Dina?
Mm-hmm. I'm mainly on Twitter for that kind of stuff, so I'm Lady Pilot 70.
Awesome. Greg?
Well, in honor of Maz's comment, I'm cell block number. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You're just a number.
It's all Tornado Greg everywhere on social media.
Tornado Greg. Very good. Maz.
He's actually at Soap on a Rope.
Oh, that was awesome. What a comeback, man.
That's Money Storm 4, the number 4, U, the letter U. So
cool. Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at PhilStormPod. And of course, right here at Stormfront Freak on Twitter without the S, Stormfront Freak. So, all right. So listen up, guys. Our next episode is kind of going to be our Christmas gift to everybody. It's coming up in a couple weeks. We're recording raw and with our Patreon members on Thursday, December 16th. So that's our recording date. The audio podcast is going to be up and available for Christmas, but it's going to be our Into the Storm movie commentary and drinking game. So we've had fun doing Twister and what was the other one?
Oh my God! You forgot the name of the movie.
I can't remember.
This is the best day ever.
What was it? What was the second one we did? No, the rest of you guys forgot too. So fuck all you all. None of you guys know what it is either.
Day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow. Thank you, Dan Wallace.
I thought we were all like playing with him, but
yes, we are.
Yeah. Day after tomorrow. That was the second one we did.
Greg, I thought he was going to be like.
And so this was voted on. This was voted on Twitter by our followers. Chose Into the Storm to be our next movie to watch. So we'll be doing that in a couple weeks, and that'll be released on right around Christmas. So next time you watch Into the Storm, you can throw our podcast on and listen to our stupid, hilarious, drunken commentary along with the movie. So should be fun. So for Jen and Dina, Greg, Maz, MJ, Dan, and Angela, I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we will catch you guys all next time. So good night.
Sounds like you're swearing. Dan and Angela.
Dan and Angela.
What?
And I just found that Tornado Page. Why? She's adorable. I follow her.
Yes. Good.
Yeah.
I
Adorable.
need to follow her too.
Yeah.
She Paige was a patron for a little while. She was a patron with us too, and so she's been a awesome teammate.
Oh, she follows me too. Okay, cool. Now I gotta tweet her.
Okay, so a quick. I will send all of you that are doing the Secret Santa thing. I will send that tonight when we get off.
Okay.
I will jumble up the names and send those to you. I also wanted to mention that we're going to go ahead and do a storm chasing trip.
Oh.
So here's the question though. You guys are the ones that kind of get to vote since you're on tonight. The options are going to be the week of May 23rd or the week of May 30th.
I mean, I don't think there's going to be a difference.
So Memorial Day is Monday, May 30th this year. So the week before that is
May 23rd.
Week before Memorial Day.
Well, if you're looking at history, May 24th is
my birthday.
That's
there
you go.
How
There
about
you go.
the 30th?
Wow.
How about the 30th? Well, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't actually matter.
If you're not coming, it's not a big deal either. But
I want to go.
Certainly wanted to throw it out there that we've talked about doing that for a long time, and we'll just pull the trigger, and whoever can make it, we'll have a little storm chasing fun, and we'll figure out all the logistics later. But at least start looking at some date options. MJ, is that something you'd be interested in?
Jen usually drinks then, right?
It's the end of the school year, which is a rough time for me with events and things.
That's what I was looking at too, but
that we deal with. But if I had to choose at that point, probably the week of the 30th. But I don't think you should base it on me.
end of the school year?
Really? It is.
Yeah, like my kids, the last day of their school is the 25th of May.
Really?
May. Yeah.
Oh man, our kids are like June 25th.
I know.
Things are slower.
But we also start soon too.
Slowly.
Oh, you start in August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We start August 2nd this year or something like that.
Yeah.
We start
It's
in
real early.
We start after Labor Day.
Yeah. We're weird.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll pick something and we'll start planning that and go from there. And my guess is we'll just figure out a starting date and an ending date. Figure out a location to fly into. What would be the easy? Go
Just
ahead,
so you know,
Greg.
Phil, I've got a couple beds here in the van, so we got that covered for at least
Down by the river.
Yeah.
Right.
And some ropes and
Is
Do you
there
have a
is there
sign that says this van's a rockin'? Don't come.
Yeah, I do actually.
nice.
Hey, is there a good airport that's easier to fly into that's bigger for everybody that anywhere there in the Midwest area?
DFW.
Yeah, I was gonna say DFW is probably your best bet.
Okay. It's kind of south, but okay.
Well, it's only 2 hours from Oklahoma City.
I mean, by late May, the challenge is by late May, you don't know, are you going to be chasing up in
Nebraska,
the Dakotas or, Nebraska or something? And
Kansas City.
Denver.
Or
Denver.
Kansas City.
Yeah, MCI would be another choice.
What's MCI?
Kansas City.
Kansas City, right?
Cell phone company, I think, isn't it?
Kansas
I'd
City
say
or Denver
Oklahoma
are
or
more
Kansas
central?
City.
Okay.
I actually like looking at Kansas City because I'm looking at the average risks, per month. Granted, it's an average, but May and June, Kansas City might be a good one. They're in that higher risk area.
Okay.
Even during a slight La Nina? Is it changed?
Well, May and June would Kansas City. I don't know, because you got right there by Interstate 72. So that might be a good one, depending on the prices.
I've flown into Oklahoma City and Kansas City for the most part when I've gone out chasing.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I volunteer for airport pickup.
Okay.
Oh,
All
right.
Oh, that's so nice.
Wait, we're not going to be in the back of the.
I was going to say, do we have
Right.
to ride in the back of the truck? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cold.
It'd be like that one that
Don't
got
worry
stuck
about
underneath,
it.
like at Oklahoma City. Somebody got stuck underneath the awning and at the terminal.
That's so crazy.
Ah.
Okay, then I'm out if that's
I'm out.
if that's how it works. If that's our option.
Hold on.
Okay. Well, cool. All right. Well, I'll look a little further into that, but it'll be either one of those last 2 weeks of May. And if you can make it, cool. If you can't, no big deal.
I'll put my
And
vacation in right now.
we'll figure out more logistics
Do it, Dina.
once we know who can commit. Who can commit to be there?
Dr. Scott to fly us in.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. You can fly us.
Sure.
You can fly the 8-seat plane.
He needs
Right enough
he
into the
was
storm.
he needs one though that has a lot more seats and
We got to have that flight around the supercell. That would be really cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be epic.
Yeah,
That
everyone
would be
chip
cool.
in and run a Pilatus.
What?
Chip in, rent that 8-seat plane.
The
Right?
PC-12.
What's the plane that Buddy Holly was on again?
Yeah, let's not rent that one.
Hey, do you guys know, just before we go, do you guys know how often planes crash? Just once.
Just once.
Okay.
Good. I like that. That's actually pretty good.
Hey, show titles. I had these options, and maybe somebody's got another one that's better. I have Stupid Pilot Tricks, Mile High Club, It's
Mile High
Really Hard, and Not Usually.
Mile High Club.
Mile
Like
High
High
Club.
Club, or it's really hard.
Maz, I can't believe that question came out of your mouth, by the way.
I know. And you had
Mr.
two doozies.
Mr. Oh my God, you're going weather trollbot. I'm going incognito. But you then
What?
ask our guests if they're a member of the Mile High Club.
He said he wants to. I hope his wife knows. Honey, we're going to go for flying.
I couldn't
It's
believe
the old
Maz,
put
that
out or
was
get
you.
out.
I know.
I couldn't believe that was you. I was impressed,
know.
but I say that like proud. I was proud of you, Mass. I really was that you asked that question. You've come a long way.
That could be our show title. Put out or get out.
Actually, that could be the show title. Are you part of the Mile High Club?
I've never said that though. To anyone.
Okay.
No.
Oh my god. This is
First
good.
thing I think of.
Hey, Greg, can you stick around just for a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
In trouble.
Stay after class.
He's in trouble.
Office.
You're in trouble.
Great guest though, Phil. Thank you.
All
Yeah,
right,
that
I'm gonna
came
go to bed.
from. Who did that come from? Somebody help me out because that wasn't my.
I don't know. We couldn't remember
Dan, was
what
that
movie
you?
we watched, so
No.
What?
Maybe it was Serena, and she wasn't on the show. I can't remember.
Who recommended the guest?
Yeah, I can't remember who that was because I don't know that was me. Maybe it was me. I don't know. Maybe I saw his book or something, or saw his app, and I can't remember. Anyway.
What was that second movie again, Phil? What was it?
That's right. What was that second movie?
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you this. We've got, so just so you guys know, what's coming up in January and February.
We're still live.
Oh, whoops.
We have.
Whoa.
You should end it.